Welcome to the slightly delayed start of our May 30th and final RoastMe live of this experiment. Before we get really into it, let's go ahead and show you our little intro video up front.
Welcome to the RoastMe live roast of Reddit, featuring Albert Escobedo, Gary Curtis, Jacob Trimmer, Pat Barker, Rebecca Rush, Ryan Nesen, and hosted by Collin Williams. Now here's your roast panel, live and ready to roast you.
Hello and welcome back. And
welcome to the RoastMe live roast of Reddit, featuring Albert Escobedo, Gary Curtis, Jacob Trimmer.
Technical difficulties. If something didn't fuck up, it wouldn't be Reddit. True form. So welcome back again. We have a fantastic final run of this May roast battles or live roast me for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today and having fun. We have some amazing comics for you. Our first comic up, we have Albert Escobedo, who is not only one of the top 30 roast battlers, but he also has a 1-hour comedy special on YouTube called Don't Judge Me, and a podcast called the Pet Peeves Podcast. We have Mr. Gary Curtis, who is a top 40 roast battler at the original Belly Room in Los Angeles, California. Jacob Trimmer, who's not only a top 20 roast battler, but also has a comedy history podcast called Let Them Fight. Mr. Pat Barker, who is one of the top 5 ranked roast battlers in the nation and was a writer on the Alec Baldwin roast. So we have some roast royalty in the house. We have Miss Rebecca Rush, who is not only one of the top 40 roast battlers ranked at the Belly Room, but also you've seen her on Viceland, the Comics Book Club podcast, and the Vulnerability Show. And finally, rounding out our roast panel is Ryan Nesen, who's a top 3 roast battler at the Comedy Store. And you can find him on Instagram at the Ryan Nesen, Nesen, on Instagram. That is them. I, of course, am your host, who you've seen arguing for why we need dark humor and dark joke over on TED.com, Collin Williams. Now we're going to be roasting each other with a few exclusive roast battles, but of course this is the roast of Reddit. So we're going to hop right into roasting you guys. Up top, our first roastee, user show_chan3214. In his bio was very short, very sweet. All he said was that he is a SoundCloud artist. So I don't know about you guys when I was looking at this guy, but I personally thought there was absolutely no way that this guy's ever thought about saying the N-word. Just always says it, doesn't even think about it.
He looks like a girl that just got back from vacation in Jamaica.
He looks like pre-Malone.
I said he looks like Posts Alone.
I was thinking
that's funny.
Malone.
We're all on the same page because I couldn't tell if he was male to female or female to male, but I knew he was post-op Malone.
I was thinking his rap name might be Rosie Parks.
He looks like
I like that he thought.
Oh my god, this is like doing a podcast.
Oh, that's all bad.
I feel like I'm on the View right now.
Why on the View women get to talk? He looks like he braided his hair hoping to get pussy, but the only one that's been attracted to it is his cat.
He looks like he operates the carnival ride he got conceived on.
I like how he felt it was necessary to tell us that he was a SoundCloud rapper, like we couldn't tell.
I actually went to his Instagram, and it says that he's a mumble rapper, which I kind of assumed because it looks like he usually has a dick in his mouth.
Oh man!
What you get
Can we not get homophobic? Because I have one more.
Go for it.
I didn't listen to his music, but if I did, I would put little condoms over the earbuds so that I didn't get hearing aids.
It was just 3 people in an Uber pool. They called it a riot.
Okay, our stream's reconnecting here. We are back up. We had a slight little loss of connection for a second. If you guys noticed that, it turns out that God hates us today. So we're just gonna go with this. I think the problem is we showed the picture of that guy, and the internet was like, "Fuck it, I quit." I'm not gonna support this guy getting famous in any sort of way. We got to keep this all safe. So technical issues aside, thank you for bearing with us. that little gap there. Popping over to our top roasts from you guys over on Reddit. User Magister1995 said, called him Lil Double Chin. Is that you? Insu _ his Yoku said, the guy you pretend you didn't see in public. And then Jim Crichton 12 was along with the rest of us and called him Post Alone as well. So congratulations to everyone over on Reddit. If you think you have awesome roasts, if you think your roasts are better than anything you've seen here, then prove it. Go over on the roast sub on Reddit and you can roast every single person that submits. There's absolutely nothing as long as you follow the rules.
Pussies, if you think you're better than us, prove it.
It's really, you can literally
I don't even have a
Reddit.
Reddit. Yeah, gonna talk shit and then bounce.
Like a real man through the internet. Prove it.
Okay, moving on to our next Redditor that we are going to be roasting, because this is the roast of Reddit. This is user Alex-Manitude. His bio, he said he lost his cybersecurity job despite working 80 hours a week. He's 46 years old, no wife, no kids. His current mental state, okay. Been kicked around the business, had some incredible highs and lows. His political views, he wanted to include this, his political views are anyone can get married and live free, but not on a free ride if you're able to work. And then under political views also loves soccer and Manchester United.
So he's unemployed now because he lost his cybersecurity job?
Yes.
He's going to start rethinking those political views real soon.
It looks like he lost his job because he was exposing himself to women and doesn't get the big deal.
He looks like he came from a White Cops Matter protest.
He's unemployed now. Literally, that jersey in the back is the only gig he has.
I like that his policy is anybody can get married except for him. He's 40 single. He looks like he writes a monthly column for Incels Illustrated.
Yeah. I feel like this is everybody that got the shit kicked out of him and Taken. It looks just like every extra.
Hilarious.
I feel like he has resting, constipated face.
Yeah.
Losing a job is definitely the most interesting thing that's ever happened to him. It looks like he's on out of sleep.
I just can't believe that he was in cybersecurity. I mean, what are we going to do now without Seth Rogen with Down syndrome here to protect us?
Okay, those are the roasts from our comics. Over on Reddit, you guys ripped him to shreds. Robbie G said, you look like the brother Zach Galifianakis tries to forget he has. The Trinkle one said, you look like you founded the dark web, which that's not even a roast, that's just fact. And then
That's
Pig
good.
Monkey 2829 said, when you were employed, did they pay you in quarters through the slit between your eyes? That massive
like that.
slit in there.
I like that.
Moving to someone completely different from our last guy, we have user Sultana Santan. I want to say Santan, not Satan. Sultana Santan. In her bio, she not Satan. I know some people think that. But in her bio, she said that she's 23, female, too depressed to be interested in anything anymore. But her former hobbies include standing One Direction and Justin Bieber and pretending God loves her.
Jesus Christ.
It's just sad.
I don't feel comfortable roasting this woman. I mean,
He's got the nicest casting couch. Go for it.
Is it because it's because I don't want her to kill herself and take out all of us with her?
She's a female. It's different. She's how we single-handedly cure terrorism overnight. We tell them that she's one of the virgins, and then we show them her picture, and they're like, "Fuck it, I'm staying alive."
Jesus.
I feel bad because her glass. Go, Pat.
I was just gonna say, be nice to Princess Jasmine. They forgot to refill her Prozac subscription.
She looks like ISIS is sourcing to Asians now.
I said her.
I don't know what to say.
More of a cry for help.
She looks like she masturbates with a Harry Potter wand.
I feel bad because her
I don't know what.
bigger than she'll ever be.
Oh Jesus.
She looks like she has.
I don't know what.
She has kind of a like. I want to speak to the manager vibe. Like she's gonna grow up to be a Muslim Karen, a Quran.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I don't know what to say about her that hasn't already been spray painted on a mosque by Jacob.
She looks like a virgin who can't drive because it's against the law where she's from.
Yeah.
I love that she put as some of the stuff about her, like her fans, like she's a fan of Justin Bieber. I imagine her favorite song is "Beauty and the Beat" for showing my face in public.
Oh.
If I spent my entire life worshiping Justin Bieber, I'd be suicidal too. So I kind of get it.
Yeah.
It's that Ariana Grande concert, right?
The other one was One Direction. I assume that One Direction being facing towards Mecca.
Yeah. Oh.
So that was the roasts from us here on the roast panel. Over on Reddit, you said about her. BB76 says, "So this is what it looks like when someone survives a stoning." 49 Gold said, "Getting you naked has more steps than Hajj." Very inside Muslim joke. I don't know, I'm half black. And then Aeon's Scene said, "Husband wouldn't even eat you out after sundown." Another good Ramadan
It's a
joke.
Ramadan reference, yeah.
Yeah. Looking good. Okay, so like I said, we are roasting not only you guys over on it, but we have some exclusive head-to-head roast battles between our comics here on the panel. We have two special ones for you. Our first roast battle of the night is going to be between the wonderful Rebecca Rush and Mr. Albert Escobedo, both top roast battlers over at the Bella Room at the Comedy Store. Rebecca, Albert,
Hey,
who wants to
how's
go
it going?
first in this battle? 3 jokes each?
Ladies first, right? Isn't that a gentlemanly thing to do?
I mean, sure, whatever.
Okay.
Albert's middle name is Mora, which is strange because no woman has ever wanted Mora Albert.
Give it up for Taylor swiftly calls the cops on minorities. Maybe you've seen the news. Everything is pretty crazy right now, but Rebecca refuses to protest. She's so Jewish, she's waiting for Black lives to go on sale before they'll matter.
Thank you, Jafar, as a busboy. Albert is so broken Mexican, he made his own face mask out of used tamale wrappers.
Rebecca's such a whore, all of her tattoos are tramp stamps.
You're just mad because your dick is so small it's being used as a nasal swab for COVID testing.
It's not that small.
Is a veterinarian who used to live in South Korea. For him, the saddest part of putting a dog down is wasting all that meat.
Rebecca's a divorced Jew. Oh, sorry. Rebecca's a divorced Jew.
Wait, I'm still not done.
Oh, you're still not done.
Yeah,
Go
God,
for
it's like a fucking podcast. Like, I'm kidding. Albert has probably never eaten dog, and he's definitely never eaten pussy.
I eat pussy all the time. Why do you think my wife loves me? Rebecca is a divorced Jew. She didn't make a good housewife, which is surprising. You'd think she knew her way around an oven.
And that is our battle between Rebecca and Albert. You guys get to decide over on Reddit and on YouTube who was the one. Just post in the comments whether or not you think it was Mr. Albert Escobedo or Miss Rebecca Rush who won. And you can find them over on their Instagram and Twitters. They're listed for you. But like I said, this is we're roasting comics. We're roasting each other. We're roasting Reddit as well is our main go-to because this is the official roast me of the roast of Roast Me Live. God damn it, it's been a long fucking day, especially if you're a black person in America. So moving back on to roasting Reddit, we have our fourth roasty for you guys of the night. User the misspelled te mighty duck with just a K and no C. In his bio, he said that he is 21, male, just got a job at a bank. He's a uni student who enjoys long walks on the beach. Taxation is theft.
Guys, give it up for Arian Seacrest.
Yeah, I like how you say it's been a long day if you're a black person, and then immediately put up a picture of a guy who looks like he murders every black person he sees.
Yeah.
Never seen a black person, Pat.
Yeah.
York today.
His shadow behind him is the closest he's ever been to a black person.
He looks like he was in sports just for the ass slaps.
I was gonna say he looks like he lost his virginity at wrestling practice.
Well,
He looks like he plays sports video games just so he can control black people.
Well, if you check his username,
Go ahead.
we check his username. It is The Mighty Duck, which The Mighty Duck's a movie that's famously starred Jesse Smollett. So this guy's username is perfect since he looks like someone who pretends to be a victim.
No.
If his eyes were any further apart, they would be on the side of his head.
Yeah, he does look like a cow.
Not far apart, they're just social distancing.
Oh.
He looked like a member of One Direction if that was downward. No, I fucked up that word.
He could
No, you didn't fuck it up. This kid fucked it up by looking like this. What are we supposed to do with this?
He
You
looks
started
like
off with post-op Malone, and then next thing you know, you got a Muslim, so we're going in a good direction. And then you give us this. What are we supposed to do with this kid?
He's the guy that grows up to be that second dude.
He makes me wish George murdered white kids.
I like how he says taxation is theft. Like this guy's ever had a job that paid enough to get taxed.
He works at a bank now. He is
Goes
the
to
best.
uni. Anybody who calls it uni is going to college for free.
Easy if a C+ became a person.
This is what's under every single V for Vendetta mask is just that face.
Oh yeah, those are the
Got
roasts.
a job at a sperm bank, collecting, not donating.
Which actually was perfectly. Albert lead us into our user roasts, which Roll-Face was actually wondering if it was Sperm Bank. User Unknown Demigod said, you could probably work 2 registers with how far apart your eyes are on your face.
Good.
And Andy McFly said, ironic you work at a bank. You look like you couldn't generate interest with anyone.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's
Straight
good.
out of the fucking New Yorker. That was impressive.
Yeah.
He's one of our premium roasters. There's a few fantastic roasters over Reddit. You can also go ahead and post your own roast comments. These roasts are still up over on Reddit. They were some of the top ones for the past week. You can check it out there or roast the new people over on reddit.com/r/roastme. And possibly end up on a future if we ever do one of these broadcasts past May again. One of our next people over on Reddit that we are roasting for you, our 5th roasty, Mr. Cool Man Coffee Dan is his username. In his bio, he said that he is an animator who started a podcast. He's interesting. When I tried telling my audience to roast me, they just told him they looked nice. He said he wanted to be roasted for real, mainly for his beard, which he grew out because of quarantine. Oh, and the puppet is my best friend.
I
I just want to say, if you want us to roast the beard, you have to send a picture of her.
It is the puppet. That's
Dave
Times before he fucks it.
Am I the only one who thinks that puppet's being held there against its will?
I don't know what it is. It's definitely screaming.
Definitely somebody in there.
He looks like he lost his virginity playing Pokemon Go.
He looks like Wolverine if his superpower was molesting kids.
Yeah.
I said he looks like Gaverin.
Yeah, I had he was halfway turning into Teen Wolf.
He looks straight, but he has a lot of X-Men. Another Wolverine joke.
When you look at his eyes,
I feel like you guys are complimenting him too. Sorry.
We're just all in love with him. No, yeah. I feel his eye, he looks so like his eyes. I feel like it's what happened when the black-eyed children from Legend just come to life and live forever, and just get old.
He's an animator whose skills could never draw a crowd.
I feel like he's working that puppet with his dick instead of his hands.
His beard has more testosterone than the rest of his body.
You said this guy's an animator?
Yeah.
What does he draw? Pictures of the black dudes who fuck his girlfriend?
That's why the puppet's mouth has to be so big. Definitely not for him.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, the fact that his audience said he looks nice suggests to me that his audience was a bunch of puppets he lined up in a corner.
Yeah.
By the way, when you send your picture to a woman and she goes, "Oh, you look nice," that means she's never gonna fuck you.
Oh, he's felt
That's
that before.
true.
Over on Reddit, you guys have a few things to say about Cool Man Coffee Dan. McPoops Scare Flyaway said he's Walmart Chris Hemsworthless. Bubblegun said even friend zoned by the puppet. And Qualpatino said, "You smile like you made a huge fart, but you shitted yourself." I like he said he's shitted too. It's the correct tense of that verb. Okay, all for gender equality now. Moving on from roasting a couple men in a row, we've got to make sure that we get over to all of our Redditors. So over to our sixth roastie of the evening, user R. Nadius. In her bio, she said that she's 20, unemployed uni dropout, living back home with her parents. Her hobbies include receiving abuse in video games because she's so bad, reading job rejection letters, and being less successful than her doctor brother.
I saw this chick fuck her stepdad on Pornhub.
It's like, I don't want to roast her because she wants it too much.
Yeah, she.
I thought this was. Well, go for it.
She looks like a sex doll that came to life.
Yeah.
I
I thought this was Rebecca Rush with a filter.
Amy, shoe more dicks in your mouth. Dropped out of college and her parents will.
She looks like Khloe Kardashian 3 months from now.
She looks. She looks like Three Base is her favorite makeup and drug. That's a great makeup joke. The Sephora crowd will love it.
You know, she keeps getting rejected for jobs, but has she tried applying to be the lead singer of Whitesnake?
guess that's to wait for the pandemic to end and the strip clubs will open back up again.
She's
She's definitely from Florida, right?
I think you were too generous when you said we saw her fuck her stepdad in a porn. I feel like I've seen her fuck her stepson in a porn. She's an old looking 20. Am I right? Like, that's not just me, right? She's an old looking 20.
Yeah.
Those are road miles. Those are road miles for sure.
Cut her open like a tree, and she has a ring for every dude she's fucked. There's like 1,000 of them in there. Her brother is a doctor. I was just thinking maybe like she could get him to set her up with somebody successful that he's around, like a coronavirus patient or a quadriplegic. You know, somebody who has more going on.
Her hair is definitely the only roots she's ever cared about.
She looks for people to look at her the wrong way so she can feel bad.
She looks like Khaleesi if the only thing she's dragging is baggage from a previous marriage. So stupid. Her blonde hair and white skin make her extremely likely to have HPV. Is that even a joke?
It's more than that. I got to point out, we didn't Photoshop this. There's so much white stuff on her shirt over there, and that's not. She didn't include painting as a hobby, and she doesn't have a job as a painter. That's
No, she didn't.
It's all on her.
Yeah, she definitely looks like if Tampa was a person. Like that's what she looks like to me.
So over on Reddit, user G Swanky said that she looks like Marlon Wayans in his costume. Fans of the movie White Chicks. Johnny Piston said, if fentanyl had a face. And Murph's Tax said, 20-year-old dropout, living back at home with no job. I can just imagine the look of pride in your parents' face when they tell people you died in a car crash. Moving on to our next roaster, the guy who apparently kept the last one in his basement. This is user Black Eye Ken. In his bio, he said that his favorite book is Notes from Underground.
Was it written by his victims?
And I'm assuming it was.
He looks like he kidnaps women just to make them listen to System of a Down.
He looks like he even snores the N-word.
This guy, he looks like he's the type of dude who bartends but calls himself a mixologist.
He looks like the puppet guy after doing meth for a few years.
He looks like he stops to play the drums before he comes.
Like he's had sexual fantasies involving Bigfoot.
How is his beard so straight but his eyes are so crooked? Like, fucking look at those things.
That's an intense case. That's what happens with inbreeding. And just I see that guy, and I just instantly think, like, I know he lives on a compound. I'm just not sure what type. Like, is it cult or is it supremacist? I don't know.
Definitely supremacist. Black Eye Ken is the closest he's came to a black anything.
I had to Google the book Notes from the Underground because I assumed it was notes from how I tried to stop the Underground Railroad.
He does have some pretty cool knuckle tattoos. I wonder if they ever scrape when they're dragging on the ground.
That's the only reading he does is his own knuckle tattoos. Oh yeah, fuck him. I don't know where I was going with that one.
Some people who didn't know where they were going with things over on Reddit, our user roasts absolutely underscore coffee called him ZZ Bottom. Victoria Fredoja said, "Does Google use your handwriting for CAPTCHA?" And Picklocks Get underscore money said, "You look like Confederate Soldier Boy."
Oh, it's
Good.
Quality.
And moving on to our next roasty, drastically different, I'm going to say human. It was user in real life 12001. Her bio said that she is 19, female, who's the only girl out of 3 brothers, is a history major in college, but loves to talk and learn about sports, loves Harry Potter and Hamilton with a burning passion, from Maryland, but lives part-time in Texas, and can handle whatever roasts we have for her.
Is that a meatball?
Bob's Burgers.
I hate this lady, man. Every time I'm at a Mexican restaurant, she tries selling me roses. Fuck her.
So the way she gets from Texas back to Maryland is dragged behind a truck.
Jesus Christ.
Take that one, Gary.
That's the too far one? Okay.
I love when I
Way
first
to read the room.
When I first saw her, I was just sure that Albert had put on a wig and submitted himself, but
I was gonna say, it looks like Dora the Explorer if she's exploring her sexuality.
She looks like a Siamese cat who never shuts up about her good grades.
Isn't this the maid from the Family Guy?
All right, everybody. In all seriousness, it's an election year. Don't forget to vote for Pedro.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
When I read her bio, I was like, of course she loves Harry Potter. She looks like someone you want to hide under the cupboard.
Talk about a rough 20. This is a rough 19, by the way, Pat.
Oh my God.
That's a 19 in dog years.
Much like a
Albert would know. He's a vet.
So much like a 19 in blackjack, I do not want to hit that.
There you go. Yeah, it's a good one. That's great.
Speaking of good ones, over on Reddit, we had user Toothscrew said, I'm not saying you're fat, but I bet you weigh wonton for the Asian look. Riley Deffenbach said, when you showed up at Supercuts, did you ask for the old-timey bowl look?
No.
I thought her hair, real quick, I thought her hair was like a knitted wool hat. For like,
It is. It's so unnatural. It's creepy. It looks like a cancer patient that couldn't afford a good wig. It looks like dollar store version of that. It was peso store probably. And then Giovanni 808 said of her, "You may catch COVID-19, but at least you'll never catch an STD." Okay, now, like I said, we've been roasting each other a little bit here, back and forth between all different comics, but it's a time for an official head-to-head battle. These are, of course, not roast battles that count against anyone's official scores, so they're really more of a street fight. We're gonna have two comics go head-to-head, 3 jokes each against each other for our final street fight of the night. We have the wonderful Ryan Nesen, who just came off of doing a roast battle on the official roast battle channel. You can check that out. He did that last night against Lost Digits. I won't tell you who won, but we got the good one. And then Jacob Trimmer.
Can I just say that Lost Digits is actually
Jacob Trimmer, who I believe is the one who calls black people the good one occasionally, is going to be going up against him. He's one of our top 20 roast battlers. At the official belly room. So, Jacob, Ryan, between the two of you guys, who wants to go first?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Go for it. Yeah.
I'll do the starter. All right.
Yeah, go.
Ryan's getting women into clubs. Now he just lures women for the love of the game.
Thank you, Snow Cone Steve Austin. Jacob, you Jewish skinhead. You look like you'd spell Hanukkah with 3 Ks.
Thank you, kosher American psycho. Ryan's an inspiration to his fellow Jews to create a Hebrew word for faggot.
You look like Walter Wyde in Baking Bad. Jacob. Jacob, you fat Jew. You look like you would have been. You look like you would have been excited to go to Auschwitz because you heard they had huge ovens filled with kosher meat.
Ryan's dad died, and I know right now he's looking up from hell, thinking, "I'm proud. I still have another kid."
My sister's not much better. Jacob was once pushed downstairs and stabbed after ripping somebody off. I mean, this must run in the family because your mom was once pushed downstairs and stabbed after your dad found out she was having you. God. That was better in my head. God damn it.
The good news is you guys watching get to decide who was the one that won that battle. Do you want to give recognition to that last joke, especially after Ryan threw his sister under the bus? Do you want to give it to Ryan or do you want to give it to Jacob? Make sure you go over and either vote in the YouTube comments or on the actual Reddit post itself. And we have a result from our last head-to-head battle, and it looks like Rebecca is the winner of the street fight for tonight, the wonderful Rebecca Rush. Congratulations, and also fantastic battle as well from Albert with some great jokes. Now that we've gone and finished up roasting each other for
she looks so happy.
I'm so mad at the fucking pictures until 10 minutes before it started. But I'm fine. I'm very happy.
The elation. That's once again, doesn't matter what a bunch of men have tried, Rebecca has not been pleased. No
Unless you're paying her, Rebecca doesn't smile. God damn it.
That's what you wanted. Morning.
That's how hard you just bombed. I heard a cat meow.
Heckled by nature.
You dropped that joke and the cat was like, no.
Meow. Meow. Oh, fuck.
Okay, well, let's go back from making fun of each other and give each other shit to giving the people over who have submitted over on Reddit some shit. Moving on to our next roasty of the evening. This wonderful gentleman, sorry, I almost vomited in my mouth saying that out loud, user Corkin01, he said that he's 18 years old, 5'6", 120 pounds, and I have a mullet. I'm Swedish. I like Green Day and practicing BJJ.
Looks like no Jack Horseman. Did we run out of humans to roast?
This guy looks like the only guy whose hair. He looks like his hair stays the same size, but his head grows. It's just so fucking weird.
He looks like one of Ted Nugent's sperm.
Yeah, look at that mullet. He looks like really gay Cyrus.
Yeah.
His mustache,
Swedish. It looks like. Go for it, somebody.
his mustache looks like it's trying to take over his face.
What mustache?
I think she's looking at the wrong. There's no way that kid can grow a mustache.
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. Okay, that guy looks like a first season Simpsons character.
There you go.
Porkin is the Swedish word for twink nobody wants.
Yeah, this guy's Swedish. It looks like he got. Oh. After you, sir.
I was just going to say he looks like the kid that would come out if Joe Exotic's husband could get pregnant.
That might be the only mullet that's not business in the front or party in the back.
This tells me
this guy
wasn't high enough from COVID.
It looks like someone tried to clone Mark Wahlberg.
Very failed cloning.
He's Swedish. It looks like he got his hair cut at IKEA. The fuck?
I like over on Reddit, the god of teapots said, "Your mom is a gallon of mayonnaise and your dad is an Easter Island statue." Texas coming in hot said, "You look like your parents used gravy as lube when you were conceived."
Jesus.
And I gotta
Don't knock it if you ain't tried it.
Oh man. And then I gotta get into character this one. Rex Killistar666 said, "What in the uncle, nephew, son satellite dish hooked up to the trailer Kool-Aid without sugar, frozen pizza dinner, 5 teeth missing, creek water sipping, sister kissing, tobacco dip packing, dumpster diving, out of toilet paper so I had to use my hand, tractor driving, catfish selling, cat piss smelling, dog food champion, yee yelling, camel cigarette smoking, bullshit is this?"
You know what's fucking crazy? That was verbatim the joke that I didn't use. Check it out.
I think that's a good argument for why Reddit should limit to a certain amount of characters. Right there. That fucking joke.
I had to give it to him just for the effort of putting that many words together. Well, clearly high on meth. That was like Rex Killistar. That way, that dude's not sober. Moving on to our next roasty. I don't think he's from Sweden. I'm pretty sure he's not from Sweden. His username is Satanish God. His bio said that he's 25 years on the planet in human form. Write whatever you feel like writing.
Pakistani David Koresh.
That's the guy whose mustache looks like it's trying to take over his face.
Yeah, before he was in form, he was definitely just a bunch of asshole hair.
Like he'd get rejected from his arranged marriage.
He looks like both a suicide bomber and a virgin he was promised.
Kidnaps women just to tattoo prayer hands on them.
I feel like this is what happens if I don't shave or take care of myself during quarantine. That's my warning story.
I don't like that he didn't give us any bio. Like, how shitty are you as a person to where you're like, oh, just, call me brown a bunch. You're forcing us to be racist, man. We don't want to do that.
Have you seen?
Speak for yourself. Jacob's all about it.
This is what he's been waiting for since the rallies were canceled. Then this guy couldn't write about it. He can't even put on proper pants. There's no way he's writing a full bio.
Is he wearing a polo shirt with like basketball shorts?
Linen.
Those are linen.
I think it's linen. It looks like linen. Yeah. This guy looks like with the linen pants. He looks like Miami ISIS. Like it right now.
He's got great hair though. He looks like the Jonas Brothers had a diversity hire.
It's really hard to not make the suicide bomber jokes when he has packed luggage right behind him. Like this was his last photo.
Where do you find a piece of paper this big? There's no joke. Where do you find a piece of paper this big, like just around the house, to have him roasted?
But a regular pin right on it.
Yeah, you got big paper, you son of a bitch. Boom, roasted.
This guy's got poster board money, is what I'm trying to say.
Sharpie money?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Kumail, no one likes me.
It's more of a Kumail, not jihadi. He promised he spent all of his money on that fake gold ring, so he couldn't get the Sharpie.
He looks like the assistant manager at the Quickie Mart.
Okay, over on Reddit, our user Mental Lockdown said of him, because he said he was 25 years on this planet in human form. Mental Lockdown said, "How many years before that were you a werewolf?" Ahmed DB said, "Do irons not work in India? Like, this shirt's more creased than your medical study books." And then Slipped Trap said, "You look like The Weeknd if he worked 7 days a week." Which is absolutely apropos. And moving on to our last roasty of this evening, just to wrap up our broadcast here and this run during May, which once again, thank you to everyone who's watched throughout the course of May. Thank you to every single comic who's been on, especially the people who are on here joining us tonight and bearing with us through all of these technical difficulties and joining us while the world burns to have a different type of burn with a fun little roast. This is user T with Aliens said, "I gave myself this haircut. I, 23 female, spent much of my life homeless, still sleep with my favorite stuffed animal, and now have a steady job, loading trucks and being treated as a highly replaceable, break unworthy cog in the machine, but at least it keeps me strong."
It's not depressing at all.
Jesus Christ.
It was like 2 months from turning into a they them with an OnlyFans.
Growing out her armpit hair, or is that just she's cold with
I
deodorant?
think that's an afro in her armpit.
That might be her stuffed animal stuck in there.
The hair on her head says Paul McCartney. The hair in her armpit says Questlove.
Cut her hair.
I thought it was funny that she thought she had to tell us that she cut her own hair.
Yeah.
I'll take your shit for 500, Alex.
This looks like Eleven from Stranger Things if her haircut was the only Stranger Thing.
She looks like she hasn't seen the sun since the Women's March in 1970.
That almost smile is definitely the last thing a bunch of missing pets have seen.
Like the girl from The Ring with the worst hairdo.
I was gonna say she looks like the girl from The Ring got a Queer Eye makeover. Genius.
Your guy would give her that haircut.
And she looks like a
I
lady
like it.
where you could remove her hair and replace it with a fireman.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God.
She looks like Javier Bardem's stand-in from No Country for Old Men.
This is that mullet kid's mom, right?
By the way, her haircut is the only bang she'll ever have.
All right.
Oh my
She's
God.
best friends with her stuffed animals because that's the only thing that can't leave her.
Why does she own lingerie, by the way? There's no way, like, there's fucking no way this is ever getting used, besides for this.
She found it in the cardboard box she used to live in.
Yeah, she's homeless. It didn't start out as lingerie. Those are holes.
Awful.
All right. Thank you so much to all of our co-hosts tonight. Once again, over on Reddit, let's wrap this up with the user roasts. Cami Sariza said, "You look like a generic medieval servant dressed as a dollar store prostitute." which Harry Callahan 19 said, "How do you re-roast Joan of Arc?" It doesn't matter. Okay, said your armpit pit hair could keep a 33 count village warm during the coldest winter. And Mr. Johnny Piston said, "You look like you've been ghosted by genetics." So thank you again, like I said, to every single comic who has been on throughout the entire run of the Roast Me Live, but especially to our comics, Mr. Albert Escobedo. Albert, is there anywhere that people can check out your work or your website?
Instagram, I guess that's the best place, at Albert Escobedo on Instagram, and then my podcast, Pet Peeves Podcast.
Awesome. And Mr. Gary Curtis, where can people check out some of your previous work?
At Gary Curtis Funny on Instagram and at Loose Change Comedy. Catch me there.
Wonderful. And Mr. Jacob Tremor?
Jacob Tremor on Facebook, Jacob M. Tremor on Instagram. Let Them Fight podcast. That's it.
Okay. And Mr. Pat Barker?
At Pat Barker Comedy on Twitter and Instagram. Don't friend me on Facebook. That's weird. And Pat and Jeff Like Sports podcast. If you like sports and laughing, listen to that.
Fantastic. Miss Rebecca Rush?
I'm Rebecca Rush 639 on Instagram and Twitter. I have a podcast called Comics Book Club, and I have a vulnerability show on Zoom the first and third Tuesday of every month. You can search Virtual Vulnerability Show on Facebook for the Zoom info.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And I have an announcement to make while we bring up to Mr. Ryan Nesen, who was the winner of the street fight. Mr. Ryan,
thank you.
Where can people find the two-time This Weekend winner of battles?
Just my Instagram, the Ryan Nesen. I have nothing. This is it. This is all I have. So thank you for making me the winner. This is it. That's all I have.
Well, we're happy that we were able to have you and make your life apparently complete during this dark and troubled time. Thank you guys again for tuning in and watching at home. I, of course, am your host, Collin Williams. You can find me at Comic Collin and check out the talk on TED.com. Type in my name and you can see exactly why we need all of this dark humor. Share your dark humor and your dark jokes over on the Roast Me subreddit on Reddit and get some imaginary points and some votes and share your fantastic jokes. If you think you can do better, prove it, and you'll get the votes over on Reddit. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we'll come back during the fall after this experimental run. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Stay safe from COVID, the riots, everything else, so that we can roast you guys at home in the future.